All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. It's been a minute since I did one of these here because there was really nothing to update, right? But I came across some information that I just wanted to add to this catalog and the discussion. If you're new here, you're not necessarily going to get the gossip that you may be accustomed to. You're going to get a critical analysis of reality TV shows and what we're watching, what we're looking at, how we experience these realities in our own personal lives, and how to hopefully better ourselves along on this journey called life. So once again, welcome to the channel. My name is Amuna. Let me just play the intro one more time. So if you may be new, we had an interview a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago with Ari Joseph. I had a little technical difficulty, so if you haven't seen the interview and you go over there, we already know. As you can see, we got that fixed. But Ari was able to give some insight into the Snowden. Now, if you don't know, the Snowden was on the show Seeking Sister Wives, just catching everybody up to speed. And for several seasons, I think it was 3 if I'm not mistaken, and so much has happened. But in this last season, what happened most notably is story come to bump, as many people say. The story has come to bump. It has come to fruition, where in Dimitri and Ashley, after it has been said that they have pursued several women in this capacity under the guise of becoming a sister wife and bringing them into their home and all of this stuff. We saw Vanessa, we saw Taylor. We didn't see Ari, but she shared her story, who reveals that there are other women. And so the last woman, the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, was the last girl who came all the way from South Africa, who was Chrissy. Now, since that episode, a lot has come out, and we learned that she filed domestic violence, that Dimitri actually married her on paper so that she can stay in America. I'm just doing a little recap, right? So that she can stay in America. And I've made a lot of commentary on a lot of things, and you can check it out on the channel. But what happened now is, after this whole thing has blown up, neither Dimitri or Ashley has come forward in the very public way that they did on the television show to reveal to the people what is going on, whether it be to clear their name, to address the allegations. They haven't done anything. I don't know if it was suggested by lawyers or whatever. But oftentimes when people live these very public lives, and something of this nature happens, they take several approaches, and in their approach, it's been basically silence. So I wanted to put, I think the name of this video is Ashley is Single and Dimitri is Ghost. Let me just start off with Dimitri because there's not much to say there, being that Dimitri is Ghost. So I went over to Dimitri's Instagram, where they were reaching out to the people, where they were letting it be known, where they got the blue check, where they were a public figure, right? Because you got the blue check, where when it was all good in the hood, how do I make this bigger? Because her thing is going to be something. When it was all good in the hood, they were over here and letting the people know the progress of watch my show, check out my podcast, all the things that they were doing before it hit the fan. But now Dimitri is Ghost. Over on his Instagram, this was screenshot right before I came on here, no posts. So he either blocked out or archived all of his posts. Yeah, there's nothing to see here. Dimitri is Ghost. The last report, and it's not funny, but the last report, and this came from, I believe it was John Gates' channel, where one of the people confirmed that he said he didn't have a place to live, and that he was looking to make good on his debts. I don't know what's going on with him. He's probably somewhere trying to figure out what in all of creation just happened, right? So while Dimitri is Ghost and nothing much is being heard on that side, we have Ashley on her side, okay? And I don't know if I can read it because, how do I make this bigger? I shared a lot of things, but Ashley's a little bit different than Dimitri. We know that she, according to the conversation, she was a part of the whole thing. She was a part of the recruitment process. She was a part of the grooming process. She was the allure that many of the women came in under. She was the prototype. She was the one who they looked at and said, wow, she looks happy, and I want to be a part of what it is that you guys are doing. Right? So I find it funny now that she wasn't just, she may have at one point bought into it. She may have at one point been victimized, but along the way, Oftentimes the one who's victimized becomes the victimizer, right? And geez Louise, man, I don't know if I can make this bigger. How I'm gonna do this now? Yeah, stand by 1 second, cause so essentially on this one here it says, I'm gonna have to pull it up on my phone, peeps. Oh, hello, be smart. Pull it up on your phone, Imuna. So here she says, my truth, because misinformation is harmful. Now, one of the ways you dispel misinformation is that you be transparent. One of the ways in which you dispel information, and I'm going to be commentary because hers is long, so I might as well get mine in while we're having a conversation. One of the ways you dispel misinformation or disinformation is you speak, because you were speaking before. You were speaking to the nation and to the world about being a proponent for polygyny, about your family, about all of the things that you made public. You were speaking, right? And then she goes on to say, I am single and grateful for life. So there were people who were looking and surmising. I really didn't chime in because, I like concrete information. But that was surmising that she left and she's no longer with Dimitri. So she's confirming for those people who may have a question about that she is single and grateful for life. Along the way, when the thing that was happening with Chrissy, she actually started posting some stuff to kind of like, not just her, what about me? She kind of posted some stuff along the way with showing herself and just the 3 children. So all along the way, she's been watching and paying attention, but she may not have necessarily been getting the empathy as the others, Vanessa and Chrissy and Taylor, may have gotten. And so this is her way of doing so. She goes on to say, hold on 1 second. She goes on to say, and I like reading, but geez Louise, Ashley, geez, I'm bread, yo. With that said, I'd like to share some tips. No, we can't go to tips. How are we up to tips? What are we doing in the tips section? What are we doing in the tips section? There's so many things that we can learn if she was a bit more honest and a bit more forthcoming, right? But how are you giving us tips when so much has happened that you refuse to acknowledge? But let's continue. She wants to share some tip that may make this world a kinder place for everyone, especially people who are experiencing trauma. So the information came out that the young lady who was in your house, she was abused. Other people who were amongst you may have been verbally. So who is the person who you're talking about that is experiencing trauma? The people who were experiencing trauma within your care, or you, right? Because to me, it sounds a little bit of, I'm not the victimizer. I'm the victim also. So take a look at me, right? This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm hearing. True Diamond said, so the life they were living wasn't real. They didn't even believe what they were saying. They were just selling. Yeah, they were. This is what it sounds like at this point. But along the way, as I was making those comments, people were like, why do you say that, Amuna? Refrain from asking personal questions of people you don't know personally. So now it's like, I'm going to redirect you now. I'm going to read you in a scholastic way. I'm going to tell you basically in no uncertain terms to mind your business. But I'm going to do it in a way that doesn't make me look like I'm coming off nasty, right? If someone hasn't shared personal info, she keeps saying personal. So look at the words that you keep hitting on each and every time. Chances are they don't want you want to talk about it yet or ever. And that's okay, exclamation point. Ma'am, 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 you will survive. I mean, I would, for some people, they act like they can't take another bite of bread. I mean, this is just by the way, what we can learn and how it looked like when we haven't really gone through the healing process. We just talk about it in theory as opposed to the practical application. It says, but you have no idea how hard they may be trying to survive. Who's the they? If you're genuinely concerned for someone's well-being or feel they may be exhibiting abnormal behavior, approach them privately, all caps, or ask someone you know they are close to for help. If you can't approach them privately, 9 times out of 10, it's none of your business. That may sound harsh, but it's more harsh to harass people for info, you think that they owe you because you are curious when it has nothing to do with you. And I don't agree with harassing people, but this is the time of social media, which it is the double-edged sword. On one hand, the people are very accessible. On the other hand, they basically don't want to be held accountable for what they've done. You invited people into your home, you exposed people to a thought process, you sold people a dream, right? And then you disappeared on them. And then feel like, oh, that's my personal business. But the personal business is what you sold. That's what you sold to the people. It's the same situation with Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown, to a certain degree, sold her personal business, right? And then this is how people got in there because you put it on Front Street. Uh-oh. So many people are moving through heavy things. That part is true. There's compassion in waiting to be invited into someone's world. I know some of you have sensed shifts, or maybe you simply enjoy a good scandal. I'm deeply moved by the DMs checking. So all of that time that we could clearly see she's talking about herself. Not about what happened or what's going on with other people, but she's talking about herself because in this third paragraph, she talks about how she's deeply moved. She's deeply moved by the DMs, check-ins, words of encouragement, and sharing experiences she receives daily. To those who miss or refuse social cues, let's normalize pausing and allowing flux to share personal stuff if they choose. That's kindness. Again, we're getting a few tips on what kindness looks like, but we're not getting the tips on what transparency and truthfulness looks like, right? So this is kind of like mental manipulation to a certain degree. Like, how dare you ask me what I didn't give you permission to ask me, even though I exposed myself to you. I no longer want to be exposed. Like, acknowledge that you did expose yourself for profit and gain to the general public, and you no longer desire to do so, right? And then she goes on to say, to the point that I've been making, and I guess other people have been saying, you're a celebrity, so you signed up for this crowd. That's an outdated excuse to harass and insult people you don't know. No, no, no. That right there is deflection. Cyberbullying is harmful. That part is true. It also lets me know that you too may be hurting. That's the Tabitha Brown response. And I have compassion for that, even if it's not reciprocal. Cyberbullying is wrong, right? Cyberbullying is wrong. The part about you signed up and for celebrity is outdated excuse is deflection. Um, we are all human. That part is true. Trying to figure life out. That part is true. I'm no different. That part is true. I condemn the slander against me as malicious. Okay, what slander? We don't know what slander you're talking about. What slander? Right? And don't support the slandering of others ever. Let me go to the next page. So again, very vague. If this was a report paper, given that it's very lengthy, we would say, where are the sources? Where's your supporting evidence? You know, it's a bit vague. We don't know in whom you're referring. It's cool if you don't like me. This has nothing to do with like. I mean, I guess for others. But this response, that's life. However, there's power in redirecting energy to things you do like. Unfollowing is an undervalued tool for a peaceful life. Blocking or restricting accounts are dope features too. I now get joy in acknowledging folks to watch me rise above. Seriously though, just be kind. My love to everyone, especially those going through some heavy things. Ashley, yeah. Ashley, this is the games we play as people. I mean, I'm just talking about overall. These are the games we play as people, right? So Dimitri is Ghost and Ashley is writing a dissertation on Instagram about questions that she don't want to answer. One thing she did say is that she's single, right? But she doesn't want to answer any questions effectively, and it's none of anybody's business, and nobody has any right to answer anything. Yet Dimitri, he just deactivate, or he just remove everything. Why still be behind the celebrity check status and then sell this whole story to the wider community and then don't want to be held accountable? Dimitri showed you what it looks like when you don't want to be held accountable. He just went ghost. He's not giving, he's not taking, he's not answering questions, and he's not answering questions. He's not giving any tips. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that sounds like a person who, you know what, I want to engage. But to engage and then say you don't want to engage, it's like someone has done something, and I'm going to keep this one short, right? and then they show back up. How many times has this happened in our lives? This is why I take this type of stuff, because people's eyes are towards it. It's a good teaching tool. How many times have things happened in our life where they're traumatic, or someone comes and pulls you into a relationship issue? That's why they used to say back in the day, don't get into man and woman relationship problem. Your girlfriend or your brother or somebody comes to you about their relationship problem. They brought you into their business, right? And they get you emotionally and mentally invested in this back and forth that they're having, okay? And when they were in the heat of thick of it, they kept calling you on the phone. They wanted to talk to you at lunch. They wanted to involve you and pick your brain and wanted to know what was going on in their life, okay? They got to a point that you didn't know about, of where they either resolved with the person or they made a decision to leave. Now here you come with your silly self trying to check back up, see what's going on with them, and be like, hey, whatever happened to you and such? Oh, mind your business. What? What? I thought it wasn't going well the last time we were in communications. Oh, well, don't be talking bad about my man. What? What are you talking about? That's why I don't like people all in my business. Like, what are you talking about? You came over here. You asked me for my advice. You wanted to have a conversation. You wanted to pick my wisdom. You wanted a shoulder to cry on. You wanted me to pass you a Kleenex. And now that I no longer have value to you, now that you feel you have moved past that, you feel like you don't owe anybody any explanations. That's the mindset of somebody who's willing to exploit other people for their energy and attention, but don't feel like as though they need to give anything in return. It's energetic thievery. When people are paying attention and watching these type of shows or doing whatever they're doing, they're investing their energy, right? Watch my show, do this, do that. We're investing energy in wherever we're paying attention, right? Where energy goes, energy grows. So you invested your attention there, and now you're asking, hey, whatever happened? Mind your business. I don't want to tell you anything. I'm not saying to the degree that she has to be willing to expose X, Y, and Z, but we have one woman, the last time we saw her, she was marrying you guys. Next thing you know, we have to have community effort to talk about her and her children coming from South Africa being in a domestic shelter, or wherever the safe house that she had to be in, right? We had all of this information coming forward. How is it slander if you're having police report and other supporting evidence to show you that something's going on? And instead of answering it, hey, I get a new identity and I've moved on. Let me know your thoughts. I think that this could have been handled a little better. Maybe a crisis consultant, a PR, somebody who can help them through this portion to how to handle the public. You're still rolling around with blue checks on your name. You're still expecting people to respect you as this person who put themselves. And I agree, we're human, we're growing, and this is the problem with putting people as celebrities and elevating them in the mind of the people when they are human. And when you do fail, humanity loses faith in humanity. Right? And when we shouldn't have been placing our faith to that degree in people to begin with. So that's my thoughts on the update on that. Thank everybody who have just joined us. Let me know your thoughts on this situation. Like, subscribe, and share. I think it could have been handled better. That's just my humble opinion. This could have been handled better. The whole mind your business thing, yeah, you signed up for it, and you could have at least addressed it directly. Show some type of remorse, some type of I'm sorry to hear the condition that Chrissy. Acknowledge these people. It's not like you can't backpedal and be like, it wasn't me. You couldn't do the Shaggy. I said I was gonna go, but this thing is a little agitated because there's a little bit of a I'm gonna pick your words. Let me just say it's a little bit agitating when real life question of domestic violence is in the air. Real life questions of displacement is in the air. Real life effects on people's lives who may have followed suit and used you as an example, as the pattern of what and how to become. And you gloried in that, but now when it's time to kind of be responsible for the patterns and for the information that you shared, you don't want to be responsible for that. That's not a good look. But anyway, everybody, some people will say, get over it. It's a TLC show. Whatever it is, this is how it happens on YouTube. It happens wherever. When people propagate disinformation or misinformation that leads people astray, it has real life consequences. And again, I guess it bothers me because it's just one of my pet peeves. You understand? Real life consequences. So let's just be a little bit responsible with our energy, with our attention, and the desire to hold ourselves and one another accountable so this can be a better world. With that said, thank everybody for tuning in. We will come back again. Leave your comments and thoughts in the box below.